We're here with Claudio Ballante and an actor. Oh, you want to hear my voice?
I hear your voice.
We're here with Claudio Ballante, the director, writer, producer, and an actor in Don Q, and we have Armand Asante as Don Q. And I thought it had such moments that were just dynamic. It's got I have to see it again, really, because I'd like to look at a film twice. So, how did he convince you to take this role? What was the motivations for taking Claudio's script here?
Well, the theme of the film is based on Cervantes' Don Quixote. And I think my motive is that what I loved about the idea of the film is that we as a society, in a way, are becoming, I wouldn't use the word poison, but we're becoming deeply affected by media, and our perceptions are being shaped by the media. And in a way, the character of Don Q, his perceptions on his life are shaped by everything around him, including his knowledge of literature and immediate New York literature, New York predicaments, what's happening in the city. And it's affected his mind, and he's losing his mind. And what I loved about the idea of Don Q is that he, in a sense, he discovered that this character really does have a tremendous moral barometer. And I think that Cervantes, when he wrote Don Quixote, was trying to communicate that Don Quixote himself was obsessed with these stories of knighthood, these incredibly romantic illusions, if you will, that he had to go to war for women, that he had to fight knights in battles, resolve issues. And that is a pandemic crisis in the world today. We opt for war. And in a sense, Don Q is a symbol of, in a way, we're victims of this media crisis we're having in the world right now.
Well, Don Quixote also, he lost it many a time, but still he turned the tables in the end. What I like about this is at the very end is the way he turned the tables back on them. And he showed he had the illumination, that he got it. Yeah. And he understood the people. And that was much like in the actual novel. He came back, and then in the end, he redeemed everything.
Yeah. What I loved about this story is that he finally he reveals his moral compass, his morality.
Were you thinking of obviously of Don Quixote when you wrote it?
Of course, that was the main idea. But once it's funny because like one time when even before I wrote the script, I saw an interview of Armand Asante. And at the podcast of Premium Pete, that is like in the movie too, is playing Costello. And I like the way that, because the good of the podcast is like that you see people for what they really are. You understand what I'm saying? And I started to see him different than when he goes and he does official interview. In the podcast, he was himself, and the way that he was talking. It wasn't different. When I was very artistic, but at the same time, you see when he talked, he sees stuff. So when I wrote the script, I took a big risk, and I wrote it thinking about him because we have a friend in common that he said, "Oh, I'm going to give it."
So you were writing, thinking of Armand in the
part. Yeah, a big risk because if after it would go to somebody else, it wouldn't be the same effect. So, I started to say, I want to make sure that he likes it.
That's so cool. It works sometimes like that.
Yeah.
It's meaningful. It's so perfect casting. It's so perfect casting for him to have that part. I can't imagine that anybody else should have had that part.
Me too, yeah.
I mean, you would have been substituted.
Yeah, because it's a very not easy role because somebody could have played very stereotypical or could have played very cheesy and it would have become another movie. It would have become like a bad copy of Analyze This, you understand? But the way that Armand played it, he played it like a person that really believed that he's monopolies, but he's not, and everybody else knows. Understand? So it makes it intellectual, it makes it deep, it makes it compelling. It took the involvement of Armand took the film on a different level. You understand? It's not anymore comedy, but it can also be seen as I feel like as a deep movie.
I think so too. I think there's a certain amount of absurdity in it also. But I think it's an actors-driven movie. I do believe that. And I'm impressed with how good Claudio. Was he not extremely good on camera? Yeah, here's a guy wrote it, he directed it, he produced, but he held his own on screen, did he not? I think you got a career. I like your face, like Fellini used to say.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And then Pastore.
Yeah.
Boy, just bring in the second third of the film, the last third, it then went to another level.
Yeah.
That and when you hit the stab, the film jumped another hoop, and that was really interesting. It's amazing. I think that was a great role for Vincent too.
Yeah, he's remarkable. He's remarkable.
Armand, from a standpoint of an actor, how you approach that role to be someone who's delusional, but at the same time, you kind of almost end up being kind of a hero at the end, almost like a Travis Bickle. How hard was that to navigate for you as an actor?
I mean, I think what the magic of that character is that he is a victim of not only his own delusions, but a victim of what the general we're seeing right now in society, in the media, dissonance that's pervasive. I'm talking about misinformation.
Yeah.
I mean, really a lack of moral authority in so many areas that I think it shapes people's perceptions in a very negative way. And I think that Don Q, in his understanding of real evil, about how the mafia actually resolved evil to evil, what he understands is that finally it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's a myth. It's dead.
Yeah.
And he resorts to his own moral authority. And in a sense, that's very much what Cervantes was saying about Don Q, that he, in a sense, Don Quixote, and that he was a victim of this romantic literature,
Yeah.
of the knighthood going into war and resolving issues through violence. And in a sense, it did not work. It finally it doesn't work.
Right, and Hollywood wouldn't take you through those kinds of hoops, I don't think. That's where I think the indie film is what makes a difference in terms of authenticity. I think you can feel that, you know? And I really appreciate that you do these independent films because of that, you know?
Well, I feel very much also that the Garden State Film Festival really is a film festival that honors independent film in the deepest sense.
Yeah.
And it has been. And I really appreciate their efforts in terms of education, and that film is should be now, as music and art and painting and literature, should be infused into the educational system. Very, very important, because it's become a language that kids have their own iPhones today. They're already creating their own movies.
Yeah.
But we have to, as well as the film points out, there has to be some moral barometer.
I think so. You know, interestingly enough, that you would consider the Gotti, the guy who's the... Well, you know, I have this thing about my birthday, and every time I screw up, I say, well, you see, Beethoven was born that day, and Philip K. Dick was born that day, and Arthur C. Clarke was born that day, and Noel Coward was born that day, and George Santayana was born that day, and what do you call it? Margaret Mead was born that day, and Ingmar Bergman, not the director, the actress, Ingrid. Yeah, Ingrid. And then I go and I would go further into history to see what happened and what happened. And I'm going through all this, and then I get to Colonel Sanders is born on December 16th. It's like, really, I guess? And then I find that's the day that John Gotti shot Castellano on my birthday, and that's like, and I say, there's something to give it some bite. And so here's the real Gotti, the Hollywood Gotti, the independent film Gotti, And that was the day that was my birthday. It was Castellano getting blown away in a car by Gotti.
Just one more question. What kept me, and for both of you, what kept me sitting on the edge of my seat was your sensory. For example, when you're getting shaved, and you almost had that nervous look on your face, like, uh-oh, is it gonna cut my throat? Okay. And you captured it like so well. That was the thing that lasted throughout the whole movie that was just amazing. How did you feel when you realized this is your guy that you were casting for the main role?
I had no doubt that he could do this, but in the script, that's every scene was like a little movie. You know, when I wrote it, every scene had these little conflicts. It wasn't just the guy is getting shaved. No, the guy is getting shaved, and he's afraid, as being paranoid about the mafia, that he's gonna get whacked like Albert Anastasia does while he was getting shaved. You know.
Right.
And when he read the script at the beginning, he said, "Are we gonna be able?" production-wise to do all these things, because every scene had a lot of conflicts, a lot of things happening, and I'm glad we pulled it off. But of course, when you are an actor like him, then he needs like one take, and then he wants to do another one, and then he do another one just because he wants to do it, and it's done. You know, we don't have to do 30. So that helped a lot. Everything going fast, and because he catched it right away, what we wanted. You know.
Now, we talked to cinematographer, but the director of photography was a woman named Danielle. Did I see that correctly?
Daniela, yes.
Oh, she here?
Daniela, it's Italian. It's Italian.
Oh, okay.
Is your lens wide enough for the three
Yes.
of us?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
He carried the movie on his back.
Yeah.
All right.
Literally.
Go ahead.
Literally.
Scott?
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, what did Claudio impart to you in terms of his cinematic vision for you, in terms of how the challenge was for you in this movie?
It's a very good question. I think Claudio has had a very strong vision for the film, color palette, and the type of shots, type of movements. So we had to fit all of those, stylistic choices and those elements within the confines of our locations and the time constraints. So it ended up being more of a game of catch up, of me trying to do the best that I could to bring Claudio's vision to fruition and to make it happen. So that's what it was. It's just being nimble and as quick as I could be, and try and respect as much as I could the dictates that he had. He had a few things that he was very specific on that he really wanted, and other than that, yeah, it's just being able to be reactive to the situations and still carry a specific style.
What I noticed just occurred to me thinking, and Armand is such a good actor, is some of the actors that are very special move so well, like John Wayne, even to agree with his politics or whatever, and Tom Cruise, you agree with his ooh, he moves so well, and Harrison Ford, and I felt like Armand really moved well.
Yeah.
He went from being like almost catatonic to like really fast.
Yes.
And how did you feel
yeah.
about trying to capture that? Did you notice that?
So yeah, no, I absolutely did. So Armand's very dynamic in his performance, and it just shows because also, as you were mentioning, the way that he moves so well. So there are two types of shots really in the film. There are the very dynamic shots where have a pretty long lens on and I'm trying to pan and follow through the space as he's moving through it. And those are effective, as imperfect as they can be, but those are effective in keeping him and keeping his performance in the shot. But some of my favorite shots are the shots where the camera is not moving at all and all of the movement is carried by Armand. So in those situations, the blocking, so Claudio's idea is like, oh, Armand, I think that maybe, stay within this confine of space, or maybe go over there, and so giving a couple of indications and then letting Armand kind of, take over and
Makes it almost theatrical. You understand? Because there's a few scenes, like he said, that the just camera is not moving. Like for example, when he sees his little study destroyed with the imagination of the gangster that they're dead. It's like theater. You understand? Like you have the camera there, and that scene.
it's like a proscenium. It's like a kind of creative proscenium shots. So kind of, maybe with a bit of an angle, maybe higher, maybe tilted, but letting Armand move within the space. And those are actually some of my favorite shots. Another one that I can think of is he's pacing through the room, and then he sits down and he looks over, and we back focus to the pills. Those are the shots I think that are almost more effective. And then the rest, when we had to move, Claudio wanted to bridge the gap between shots. So often it was we had to combine shots. So we couldn't do it classically, like, just do an establishing shot and then do a close-up. We had to fuse everything together.
Everybody's doing that a little bit now, I've noticed, where people have to do some adjustments in their style because of the way the production's going and all. But I'd like to do a further zoom with this. I'd like to get back to the party. So I'm just going to ask you a couple of last things. Robin and I had a debate about the thing where Fredo let the money stay there, and because of him calling him Fredo from far away. And then obviously he answered it to that extent. But one of the things I've always liked about the movies that intrigues me is how things happen, and like a door opens and you never see it get shut, and they go on to the next thing. And so to me, it's just as likely he went back and got the money and really showed his father who was the smart one. And there's nothing that tells you that he didn't. He says that because that it showed he was a good guy, that's fine at the moment. That doesn't mean a day later he doesn't think, maybe I should go get that money and I know where it is.
Oh, we leave a lot of things up for debate. You understand?
Yeah.
Like he took the money, but at the same time, he's always been pro helping Don Q. He's always been against a little bit stealing the money of Don Q. So he might, maybe yes, but maybe he didn't. Maybe
But
he's
you
a
did
good guy,
that
but he's
occur
a
to
bad
you,
guy.
thinking about that?
Yeah, of course. But like the ending, maybe he was imagining everything, maybe not. I don't know. We have to ask Don Q.
Well, we know that he's a good guy because he defended against his father. He defended that young man from getting his thing cut. So that was kind of like a precursor. So that's why I had my argument.
Well, yeah, but maybe he just didn't like to see that much blood. I don't know.
But I think the movie was challenging enough to do without worrying about that. But
Yeah, exactly.
So some things we'll follow up is I'd really like to see how good Armand was a negotiator when he sold the film at AFM. I thought that was interesting. Archstone was the one who bought it. Have they told you about a release? You're going to go theatrical, hopefully?
We're still waiting for their strategy. We're now currently like sending the deliverables and stuff, and they told us that it was a success, the EFM. So we're waiting for a report. We're waiting to hear, but they're excited. So.
But I talked to indie filmmakers who made a narrative film that works, and it's so hard to do as an indie that don't let the distributor stop it from getting a release in the theaters. Do not let that happen.
No.
Even if they sell it to them for whatever, they have to keep that theatrical if they're not going to do it. And I believe it. What do you think, Armand? Don't you think that Archstone has to take this film to the theaters? A film, a really good indie film, narrative indie film. You can't let them just send it to streaming. If you're going to sign with a distributor, they got to get you in a theater.
Well, I'm for that. Unfortunately, the industry is changing so rapidly.
You can fight.
We have
You're
no
Don
control.
Q.
We have no control over that.
Well, we got to fight that. I mean, the documentaries, okay, and the indie documentaries are actually better than the other ones because they can't be stopped on the final, like, cut kind of stuff. But on a narrative film that works, I think it's for people's careers, like his career, to be his going on. You cannot let them tell you, if they don't want to distribute it yourself, and you pick up the cost, but don't take the rights from you. That's what I believe we have to do.
I'm totally in sync with what you're saying. We're trying to make that a reality. What can we do?
It's gonna become Don Q. It's gonna go to try to
That's
distribute.
exactly. You get it. You don't need a horse's head. There's other kinds of animals.
It's like Harvey Keitel said, we've done the work, it's out of our hands.
Yeah.
And somebody else has.
Were you at AFM when they were negotiating and all that kind of stuff?
With what?
AFM, where they bought it, Archstone, and
No,
the
no.
film art. Yeah, they moved to Las Vegas now. And then next year, for the first time, AFM is going to be in Las Vegas instead of Santa Monica.
It would have helped if you took that pistol, right?
Chuck Zito got that pistol. He got no, he really took a.
We're going to follow up with a Zoom, so if you would like to go deeper on our career thing, I would love to do it.
For sure.
So let's stay in touch.
But I wanna, if it's possible, I wanna.
Oh, she was so
She was
beautiful.
that's our co-producer and actress
Yes.
also, and
Come
Michael
on,
Domino, co-writer, producer.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
circle over here.
We'll talk to them and let you guys enjoy. All right?
Yes.
Like
That's
these?
perfect. That's great. Thank you.
Okay, so you are an actor, see, right? And you're a producer,
Producer, writer,
right? And
writer.
Co-producer and acting as well, but he's acting as well there too.
yeah, that's what I like is you make sure you make everybody do something.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's the old Robert what's his name Altman approach. Bring the family. You make this whole
Exactly.
family makes them work.
Exactly. That's a big family work. Go
How
out
did
do
you-
something.
sorry.
No.
How did you like that dancing scene with the red dress? Wasn't that beautiful?
It was actually it was
Really
just like
almost surreal.
that's where some of the absurd elements of the film
Yeah.
start to ring. That you can say, yes, this is an absurdist film in many ways. I think that will help in Europe too. As far as,
Is that right?
Yeah, I do think that they appreciate that. You know, here, you got to wonder sometimes with some of the roles.
The way it was shot and edited contributed to the delusionary effect.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Very well
right.
done.
That red dress fantasy scene, I think it was only 2 shots. Like, I think we did only 2 takes, and it was my first day
Between them.
on set, and then we did 1 take. I think it's like a broader shot, the medium shot, and then 1 close up. And Armand was carrying me spinning, and the cinematographer was spinning. The whole room was spinning. It was like a very haunting experience, but in the best possible way.
Well, what's interesting is I just happened to see the restored version of Nancy Savoca's, what do you call it, Household Saints. And there was the whole theme about the Italian fellow who fell in love with the Chinese. Come on, bring him in too, yes. There's a theme there that was, he actually dies over the Chinese girl that he falls in love with. It just reminded me so much of it. And it's a beautiful restoration that Kino Morgan did. And they put it in the theater. Nancy Savoca was like one of the original, indie legends back in '92 or something. So, about yourself, what did you feel about your role, and what was your motivation, and how did you get involved with this? And
Well, first off, being able to be involved in anything is a special project, especially film, and getting together with people and working with them and art. For me, I've done a lot of things, but this is the first thing I've ever done as far as like in a movie. Armand calls me up one day. We had sat down and did an episode together on my show, and he's like, "Hey, if I have a part for you, would you mind to be in the film?" And in my mind, I'm like, "What would I mind?" And then the rest was history. It was great, to be involved with it. For me, I like the film because it speaks to a lot of people's mindsets and really how powerful it is that people just sometimes struggle just to get through the day. So I was proud to be a part of it. I got rolled in the carpet like 8 times. Thank God I don't have an ass, but I have a little muscle under my ass, and I was able to give it a nice push, and it flew me through. The funny thing is, for me, I just say to myself, anyone who wants to be involved in a project that is passionate. Passion needs to be involved, no matter if you're starting from day 0, day, whatever. Passion is the most important thing, I think, that, and building relationships.
Just quickly tell us about your show, for those that don't know.
Well, for a long time, I've done a show called The Premium Pete Show. I started podcasting early with Combat Jack, and God bless Reggie Osei. He passed away many years ago, but his legacy still lives on. and just really giving people a platform to what you see today, really long form content, really understanding artists and people more than just buying their product. So yeah, you know.
I'm a big fan of Joe Franklin and all these and I
Oh,
interviewed him
absolutely.
a
I mean,
couple
there's so
times.
many different creatives, but you know, it's always special.
Can you all introduce yourself and say who you are, so that, and what you did on the film, and pass it across, so that way we'll be able to.
You want me to introduce myself?
Yes.
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
Yourself.
Okay. My name is Pete, Premium Pete, or should I say Pete, Premium Pete Gibaldi. I played Frank Costello in the movie Don Q. And it was a beautiful film. Go check it out. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Genevieve Shi, 时尚秋韵. I play Li Ming in Don Q. I am an actress, singer, and entrepreneur, and I hope our film gets to be seen and shared by more people because we have a very deep, meaningful message in it.
My name is Michael Domino, and I'm the producer and co-writer of Don Q.
It's so little. You did so much actually. But anyway, my name is Daria Filitskaya. I'm a co-producer of Don Q, location manager. I'm acting really small part there, and yeah, that's it. I guess. Well, it's called Pretty Girl. I think that's how it is. It's like so. There is a scene with the Vincent Pastore and Butch. Which they have. Bucci, yeah. So I'm one there. So, the one who's taking a selfie picture. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, right. That's great. That's great.
You had a lot of big faces, like this guy.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You caught me off guard. I wasn't planning on being on camera. Hi, America. How are you? My name is Sal Sinatra. I got on this film by accident, totally by accident. And now I'm here. I'm here to stay. So, I mean, if you want me to tell you about the movie, to not ever act in any movie whatsoever, and to be in a movie like this is amazing. I'm just grateful to be here. That's
What's
it.
that experience like?
You know, it was shocking because you think you know what movies are like, how it is when movies are made, and then you get there and you do it and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, oh, that's how they do this, that's how they do this. So that was amazing. Then seeing Armand Asante, which of course, Mambo Kings, he played Gotti, he played American Gangster with Denzel. I'm a fan. So to be sitting there with him and then seeing some scenes that he's doing, and I can almost hear like the Oscar music in the background when he's doing the scene. It's just like, I'm like, wow, like he's amazing. And, I was lucky to be able to just do a good job for the director, and I'm so grateful to Claudio for making me a part of this.
Great.